When the spawn meets world, spawn meets world. When the spawn meets world.
What up, bros?
What up, bros?
And welcome to Bruh Meets World.
When it's Bro Meets World.
Your Boy Meets World fan cast. Welcome to episode 31. I'm Ceej.
And I'm Tony Curtis, ladies and gentlemen. In the building.
Tonathy Curtis.
What's the haps, bro? What's happening?
I was gonna ask you the same thing. I'm actually in a pretty good place. Oh my god! So it's so funny that we're recording this episode after I went to a concert last night because I realized that I am old.
Yeah, concerts are very much a young people's game.
Not only was this a concert, it was kind of like a rave, like Dayglow party thing.
Yeah, that's even more. That ages me out way quicker. I feel.
So here's the thing: I go there. It's an 18 and up party and gig or whatever. But it's a paint party. I'm like, this will be fun. And when we get there, I'm clearly not gonna go when doors open because I'm not smart enough to know that. But I forget that the big event, like the paint party itself, probably isn't gonna go until midnight, and we got there at like 10:30, so it's an hour and a half of like being in a room of sweaty people, some of which can't drink. I'm currently not drinking, and it was just like, oh wow, I am way too old to be here.
Sure, yeah.
And then,
you know what? I know this.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and then when like the paint actually did come, like there was mosh pits, and like I was just like, oh yeah, I'm too old for this. I want to go home.
I noticed myself feeling that way about concerts in my early 20s. Like, I'm feeling like I'm too old for this. Especially, like, those concerts. I don't know if you remember ever going to concerts at, like, House of Blues.
Yeah,
I've been like standing room only concerts. I'm too old for that.
It's hilarious how, like, we're at the place now where I saw something like a meme where someone's like, my enjoyment of an event is directly related to if I'm able to sit down.
Yeah. Am I able to sit down? Can I see? Because I'm paying this money. If I'm having this tall person standing in front of me, I'm not digging this.
Yeah.
Also, too, you better show up on time. There better not be these long like pauses between one band and the next band. Like, you guys better figure this out.
Do you know those people who are still mad that Lauryn Hill doesn't show up to her concerts on time?
Dude, that's why I don't buy Lauryn Hill tickets.
I never buy Lauryn Hill tickets. We've talked about this. I love
Lauryn Hill. I think she's one of the greatest musicians. Like, even from just the one album, she's brilliant. I will never pay to see Lauryn Hill because I know that there's a 20 to 60% chance that she's not going to show up to this thing.
Exactly. So that's my whole thing. It was just really funny. Okay,
that math doesn't work out. It's a 60 to 40% chance.
If I was surprised with the Lauryn Hill concert, I would totally love it. But you're right. Or if someone bought tickets for me to go,
if I went to go see Dave Chappelle and he's like, ladies and gentlemen, also Lauryn Hill, that's what I'd want to see. That's the scenario. I want to be surprised by Lauryn Hill. I don't want to be surprised by her not showing up.
Well, it wouldn't be a surprise.
No.
Okay, so before we get into this episode, though, which has to do with the band and all this other stuff, I wanted to do a little morning announcements. That's basically just us reading the letters that came in, or if there's any news or anything like that.
We need morning announcements.
What'd you say?
We need a morning announcements jingle. Bing. A little.
Right. Oh God, that thing from Grease where she does the xylophone. Yeah. That's NBC, but
that is NBC. I'm raised by television, guys.
Exactly. Speaking of which, so we did get an email from one of our listeners, and I've been talking about doing emails forever. We've just been behind or doing our own things. But anyway, what she wrote actually I wanted to discuss for a little bit because one of our listeners, Jessica, wrote in and she was like, "Hey guys, working my way through the podcast. I really enjoy your conversations about love languages, and just wanted to add that I've always thought Sean's love language was gift giving, as can be seen in Easy Street and sort of at the end of Santa's Little Helper, which are later episodes. There are definitely more examples, a lot in the sequels, like the series Girl Meets World. But yeah, basically, she just wanted to know our take on that and what we thought the boys' love languages were.
Ooh,
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
very interesting.
And which is why I wanted to bring it up. I mean, we always encourage you guys to send us an email. But when there's questions like this, I was like, yeah, that's a really good question.
Yeah, I definitely think that Sean's love language is receiving gifts because those examples are correct, and there are a bunch throughout the series that I think support that.
It's so
Um,
funny. So before we get into it, I wanted to talk to those who don't know about love languages. TC, you said you read the book, right?
yeah, there's a book called The Five Love Languages, and it just kind of helps you figure out how you receive love versus how you give love.
Yeah, there's it's called The Five Love Languages: How to Express Heartfelt Commitment to Your Mate. Written in 1995 by Gary Chapman. It says it outlines 5 ways to express and experience love that Chapman calls love languages. Those 5 are words of affirmation, which are basically people need to hear constantly that they're loved. Acts of service, for these people, actions speak louder than words. Receiving gifts, for some people, what makes them feel most loved is to receive a gift. Quality time, the language is all about giving the other person your undivided attention. And physical touch, basically appropriate touch, not always sexual, is how this person knows that you love them. And Tony, what's yours? Do you know your love languages? Do you know what?
Yes, yeah. So my highest love language is physical touch, but my second highest is actually a tie between acts of service and quality time.
Are you
And I say it's a
serious?
tie because I actually took the quiz and it told me that was a tie. But yeah.
That's crazy. You're two. Sorry, the your number one is physical touch.
hmm Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Why? Why?
I don't
Why
know.
is it
I
so
just like
crazy?
I guess
It's one of the five options.
you're. I don't know. I guess it was. I guess crazy is like not the word I meant. It was unexpected. I just never would have thought that physical touch was. Do you know where that comes from or anything? I don't like mean to analyze you right now.
No, you know what though? I do remember like as a child, like it was always a thing that like if I were watching like I don't know, like TV or something with my parents or something, like my mom would always rub my back and like
Aww.
things like that, like little things like that. So I think that was
Aww.
just part of it, of just like the physical touch. Like obviously it's not always sexual. It's just a way of just like, hey, I'm thinking about you in this moment, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Um,
no. Physical touch is my number two. And I think about it like if I really consider myself close to a person, I am like extremely physical. Like even if it's friends, like I'll just like curl up in my friend's lap while we're watching a movie because like I want
yeah,
to.
yeah.
Like that's just like a oh I trust you type situation. So yeah,
So what was your number one?
quality time, which actually makes a lot of sense for me and to me. Like quality time, I'm definitely the type of person where if I like, I'll spend time to just be one on one with you if I care about you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and same thing. Like a lot of the issues I have when I've dated in the past has been like, for me, just show up. You know, it's like you can do everything else and that's great and that's fine, but like I need you to show up because I can do just about anything else, you know. Like
Exactly.
the receiving gifts, I was like I can buy my own stuff and I don't need you to like do it.
Receiving gifts was my lowest one. That's the thing I cared the
Same.
least about.
Yeah, absolutely. But all right, so like to go back to the question though, you think you think that Sean's is gift giving or receiving?
I think it is because I think in Sean's world, whenever he did get a gift, it was a very big deal. Whenever he got a gift, someone had to work really hard for it. Someone had to make a sacrifice for that gift. Someone had to be really unselfish for him to get that gift. So I think for him, gift giving is a little bit different than someone like Corey, who maybe never had to really think twice about gifts and if he was going to get one for his birthday or anything
That's a
like that.
really good point. See, I kind of saw Sean's as quality time as well. And I think it's because Sean really does, or at least the ones that we see him interact with, most importantly, Cory, he's just kind of like down to be with Cory. You know what I mean? It's just like, as long as he's there, it's like showing another one. It was like showing up, or like, did you come? I think back to the Cherry Bomb episode when like Cory came. You know what I mean? Like that was like important to him.
Yeah, totally.
I mean,
I
you can
think
have more
that
than one. It's
sure. And I think that quality time's definitely there. I think for Sean, the most important thing is the people in his life and the people he trusts, Cory specifically. But I also think that he's not like if Cory wanted to spend the weekend with Topanga, I don't feel that Sean would give him a hard time about it either. I don't think that Sean would feel like his love was lacking with Cory because Cory maybe got busy with Topanga for a week or so. So I that's why I don't think it's his highest one, but it's definitely up there.
Yeah, you know what? I would agree with that. I definitely would agree with that. I put Corey's as words of affirmation.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I think
because
he just
Corey's like extremely insecure, and he like needs to hear constantly that, like again, it's that thing where I feel Sean's constantly reaffirming to Corey, and Sean even knows that sometimes Corey just needs to hear it. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's a great segue into this episode and the next one
Yeah,
because
very
they
much.
all center on Corey's insecurities.
Yeah, very much so. So you want to get into it?
Yeah, dude, let's dive in.
All right, let's do the tell me about it.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so our tell me about it. The seventh grade dance is around the corner, and Cory, not wanting to ask his usual fallback, Topanga, is searching for a new girl to go with, but is constantly being turned down. That is until a senior asks Cory and Sean to watch their band equipment, and two female classmates assume the equipment belongs to them. Seeing an opportunity, Sean encourages Cory to pretend to be in a band to get girls. At first, the boys just try to look the part, but soon the story takes on a life of its own, resulting in the boys holding auditions for big members, and suddenly their fake band is headlining the school dance. The boys continue the charade all the way up to showtime, and since they can't play instruments, put on a terrible performance that even Feeney mocks. But their performance does have one fan, Topanga. Meanwhile, Alan tries to relive his youth with a reunion of his former band, The Tongues. So, first impressions, first thoughts, where are you at?
Alan's band's name is The Tongues.
I was waiting for that.
Can we just have a moment to just discuss that for...
First
Jeez,
of all,
man.
I want to say, great band name. I think The Tongues is like, it's perfect for like the era I'm thinking Alan did all of this in, and I think The Tongues is a really good band name.
Yeah, I mean, it's it is what it is.
I do like how like Amy was all, you did it for the girls. He was like, no, I didn't. And she was like, and what was your band name? He was like, The Tongues. And I was like, okay, yeah, that was exactly
I mean,
what. Go for it.
We're definitely going to dive into this a little bit more, but Alan, we learn a lot about him in this episode.
Oh, yeah.
We learn a lot about where he is in his current insecurities.
Yep.
We also learn about Alan, teenage Alan, I'm assuming, who was what I can assume an asshole. So there's a lot we're going to unpack as we get into this, but yeah, Alan.
It's funny that you say that he's an asshole because I actually didn't see him as an asshole. I did see that like we kind of get a little bit more fleshed out of a character, but now that you've said it, I'm putting that character and those pieces together, and I'm. I'm
able to support my argument. I don't know how you want to dive into this right now, but like,
you know what? Let's do it now. Why not now?
But
let's live for a moment.
Okay, so here's why I think teenage Alan was an asshole. So right off the bat, when Alan's talking about him being in the band before, he's like, "Oh yeah, we were a protest band. We were protesting the Vietnam War," and Cory's like, "Oh, I'm just in it for the chicks." And Alan and Amy later confirmed that Alan was just kind of in it for the chicks too. So that lets me know that he was a pretentious asshole who wore that fringe jacket talking, being like, "Oh, guys, we gotta protect Vietnam, guys. We gotta bring our troops home." Like with Lyndon Johnson, like he was that douchebag who was just saying things trying to get laid. That's who he was. And later on in the episode, Eric brings out that same fringe jacket, and he looks at the sleeve, and underneath are the names of all the chicks that Alan banged while in that band. So this
Yep.
guy is going around talking about Vietnam, pretending to be this highly evolved, like deep band. Meanwhile, he's slinging puss left and right and keeping record of it in his jacket pocket. It's who was this person who
So
is
it's
now in charge of three children?
like I said, I think it's funny because when I look at it again, I was like, oh wow, that was like really interesting for Alan to be like, yeah, we were actually very much about social change and the Vietnam War, and like I was like, oh look at you, you were a very mindful, quote unquote, for the time woke student. But then I also realized him being like, "Oh, but I was like a really good player," and Amy was like, "No, you weren't," and all this. And then you said the thing about the jacket, and even the fact that like he kind of quits once it's affirmed that even though he's judging his bandmates for not having as cool of a life, they can still play, and he still wants to look the part, but he can't even play at all. So, it's just kind of like that whole dedication thing. So, just all that put together, I was like, yeah, Alan probably was one of those pretentious douchebags, kind of like what we would equate today to people who want to be DJs, you know?
Yes. Yeah, and that's the thing is that Alan just reminded me of like all the worst kind of kids in high school. And I mean, Corey and Sean kind of turned into those kids a little bit in this episode too.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's supposed to mirror that the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, you know? Like
Sure.
even like the parallels between Amy's story of why she was into Alan and then Topanga kind of saying all of those things. It's very, very
Yeah.
much like apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Yeah.
Or just like it takes minimum effort when you have the appearance of being a musician to sling a chick. Like that's what they're making this seem like. And unfortunately, I don't necessarily agree with it, but that's the message that's coming across.
Oh no, definitely. So it's funny. That leads us to the next section, our roll call, where we meet two new students, Sonia and Sherry. What do you think about them?
Sonia and Sherry, I guess they're the equivalent of like they're like the Billie Jeans. They're the Dirty
Oh,
Dianas.
they are
They're the
groupies
groupies
for
for
sure.
sure.
I mean, like
Because
unapologetic groupies too.
yeah, and I mean that's the thing is that Boy Meets World can write a really great character like Topanga, and then they can write these really like flat characters like these two girls who seem to like literally just like Corey just asked that Sonia girl out, and she didn't care. She didn't even look at him. The moment he has a guitar case in front of him, she's like, "Hey, what's going on? How are you?" Like it's a new person. I don't understand who this character is.
Well, what was interesting to me is how the girls perpetrate the lie and kind of even help it grow. You know what I mean? Like, it's this weird thing where they're the ones who are like, oh, I've heard their band and it's great. And it's like, wait, what? Even Corey's like, what are you talking about? Where'd you even get that motivation from?
Yeah, it's just those girls who want to be included. They just want to be part of that. Oh yeah, I'm with the band. I'm dating the cool guy who's on base. It's that dude. I hated all these people in high school.
What I have to say though, and it's funny that you mentioned that, is I love the scene where Topanga meets them because
Yeah. Oh, she's like,
They're awesome, except they don't have a drummer.
Who are you?
We're with the band.
well, so what I liked about that line is she meets these guys and they are like saying all of these things, and she just looks at them like, "Who are you? But like that kind of, she says it in a way that can mean several things, at least in my mind. It's like who are you pretending to be? Like what, like, as we just said, like, what are you, a groupie? Like, do you have like any identity? Who are you? What are you even trying to do with this? And then second of all, it's the very much that girl territory thing where Topanga's like, okay, bitch, why are you even in this conversation?
Yeah. And you know what? It's funny is that they instantly are like, we're with the band.
Yeah.
Like they latch on to that identity so quickly.
Yeah, that's what it is. But that's what I mean. It's like with that whole "who are you" quote, to me, it was very much like, do you even have an identity? Like, what are you even bringing to this? Are you like in the band? No, you're just with them. Oh, so you're nobody.
They also, it's funny too that it's this, I think it's Sonia. Um, she has a speaking line with Feeney later in the episode, and I'm like, oh, so we've never heard from this girl before, and now we get her talking to Feeney. Does Feeney actually talk to other students? We've never seen this.
He occasionally identifies other students. Occasionally.
It's rare.
Oh, and then we also get the two other we also get the two other band members, quote unquote, which is Thor, the
Thor,
guy who just poses.
I want to insert this clip, but I just want to say it because I thought it was really funny. Corey's like,
so let me understand this, Thor. All you do is pose?
Oh, yeah. What else is there?
He's shorter than me, and he won't steal our chicks.
You're in.
Yeah.
This is the guy.
So, well, that's what I was gonna say. It actually has like some very interesting notes about at least what we as Americans think about being in a band or like music of the time.
Yeah.
Because the idea that Thor can look at this and be like, oh, I don't need to play an instrument. I just need to look the part. In fact, the boys, when they're holding their auditions, they turn away someone because he's too good.
Yeah.
And we didn't get his name, but like he was someone who he comes back because they actually do hire him to play.
No, they didn't. They booked him.
Oh, they booked him.
They did not hire him.
Yeah,
they weren't going to pay him, and he left.
Which I really, you know what, I applauded. They gave an actual thing because like he was like, oh, what does this gig pay? So first of all, very smartly not giving up a gig, not knowing if it didn't pay more. You know what I mean? And then when they were like, oh no, it's not a paying gig, he was like, oh well, we do have a paying one, so we're gonna leave. It was like an actual.
Did you notice that he was like, oh, we have a paying gig at the Oyster House, and then later on to Corey's like to Topanga, where's your date? She goes, oh, he went to the Oyster House, so that was her date.
Wow, I didn't. You know what? I heard Oyster House, and my mind was like, oh, you've heard that somewhere earlier. But I didn't really take it into consideration.
Yeah, she was fucking a guitarist.
Oh my god. I don't think she was, but definitely Sherry and Sonia were going off too.
Oh, for sure. They were at that Oyster House all night.
Ah, God. But what are we saying? Like, I mean, you don't have to get into this, but it is kind of, we've talked about Boy Meets World doesn't really paint teenage girls in the best light. Like the whole idea of them just being around, or like, I don't know, it kind of makes girls seem superficial.
I don't know, like,
you know what I mean? It has the argument that these girls are just superficial, which we see a lot in Boy Meets World. You're either Topanga or you're superficial.
Yeah, but I also just remember girls in high school that like when they saw a dude with a guitar, they got goo-goo eyes. Like, I don't know, like, I think there's truth to it, which is why it's a stereotype, unfortunately.
So all I can think about is the ongoing joke that anyone in college with a guitar,
yeah,
just gets and it's always Wonderwall.
Gosh, it's Wonderwall, or for our generation, unfortunately, it was like a Dashboard Confessional song, or some kind of like John Mayer, daughter.
I was thinking Jason Mraz, John Mayer. It's those like little. I can't think of any right now, but they
wouldn't know the chords; they would know the tabs.
Did you ever try to be in a?
I was going to ask you this, if you ever thought, were you ever in a band?
Oh, no.
Okay, so I was never in a band, technically, but I was in a rap group freshman year called the Muppets.
Oh, God. I just so many comments, but continue.
It's the Muppets.
DA nickname.
DA, yeah.
Yeah. So what was going on that Dub was like the big thing?
I don't know, but we were Dub Muppets with a Z, and we had our hit single Waka Waka.
I hate you so much.
I don't mean to sidetrack too far, but can I give you a small taste of Waka Waka real fast?
Go, of course.
Waka Waka is what I hear when you're rapping, and when I get the mic, I get the whole crowd clapping. When the Muppets take the stage, we make the magic happen, like back in '84 when we took Manhattan.
I hate you so much, but this is actually it was really good. It was a really good one. That was so stupid, though. Of course, you included "Take Manhattan."
It's my favorite Muppet movie.
It's like an early version of like Childish Gambino. Like
that, you know what? I'll take that compliment.
Yeah,
I'll take that compliment. But yeah, that's as far as I got as far as being in a band because I couldn't play any instruments. And at the time, this was before when not playing instruments like Cory and Sean actually played a factor in whether or not you could be a famous musician. I feel like had I grown up now, where all I needed was a computer and,
auto-tune. You probably totally could. You could be killing it as a YouTube sensation.
The Muppets could be a worldwide sensation by now.
Oh my god. I will say, like, I do love, like, that whole thing where people are like, that's a great band name. There are, like, just several ones that are, like, really cool band names. Although, what do you think about
Did you think The Exits was a good name? I didn't think it was.
No, I think the whole joke is to say that, like, The Exits isn't a good name. But I'm saying that, like, there was this game, or there's, like, this, it's not like a...
Oh, this visual joke where Cory's looking around and he sees, like, blood drive, sex ed, exits. So he chooses the most boring of the three.
Blood drive is also pretty cool.
Yeah, blood drive I think is a cool name, I guess.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. There's like that game where you're like, oh, that would make a really good band name.
Yeah.
Like oh god, there was one the other day, and a friend of mine, we were like, that's a really good band name. Damn it. I think it was like called The Hatred of Manhattan or something like that. I can't remember.
Ooh, Hatred of Manhattan. That is a great band name. Yeah. Or something like Nipple Ring Circus or something.
Nipple Ring Circus. That is
You wouldn't pay to see that band?
No, I would not pay to see Nipple Ring Circus.
All right. Well, I thought we were just throwing spaghetti on the walls here, guys. I didn't think we were taking it that seriously.
Is Spaghetti at the Wall like the album cover of Nipple Ring Circus?
Ooh, Spaghetti on the Walls. I do like that as a name.
No, okay. To me, that's like an album. That's someone's first LP or something like that.
That is. That's the first LP.
Okay. But yeah, I don't know. I was never in a band or anything like that, but
hold on. I before we get too far along, we skipped the black kid, and I want to make sure we talk about him.
Flip,
who also does nothing.
Oh yeah, absolutely nothing. So I kind of like Flip and Thor's camaraderie. That like when things get too high, they're like, "Yo, I barely know these kids. I'm not invested in this." I really liked that they just like uniformly bailed.
Yeah. Okay, just real fast. When Flip is auditioning, again, he's not playing an instrument. He's posing with a guitar.
Uh-huh.
And Cory says, well, you gotta have a guy like that in the band. What do you think he was referring to?
So I thought he was referring to Flip's showmanship. Flip has on a Napoleon-style jacket.
It is like one of those like Michael Jackson like at the grocery store jackets.
Exactly. He has one of those jackets on. He has like the little half hair banged head for a black kid at that. You know what I mean? It's just like,
they were like twists. I thought they were twists.
Exactly. I mean, they could be twists, but it's very crisscross.
It was very crisscross. I will say that. Yeah.
Exactly. Or like, I guess now it's what's inspired by like people like Lil Yachty and stuff, right? Don't they kind of do that? But
I don't want to comment on them. So, I don't want to sound like an old fart by commenting on them.
Oh, I have no problem. I understand that music is not for me anymore, and I can completely feel comfortable in that area.
Yeah. That's just Control-Delete that from my library.
All right, but going back to Flip, why? What did you think? I think I have.
I didn't know if you thought there was like, oh hey, here's a cool looking black kid. We need to have him in the band.
I didn't think of that because remember at this point in time, having a cool black kid wasn't even a requirement. We barely let them audition. It's not like he was like trying to do a Boys to Men group.
Yeah, but also too, it's like, you know how in the basketball episode there just happened to be a black kid that came around that we never saw again?
Yeah.
It kind of is like that. Like, oh, we need like a cool rock band. Like, I don't know, it just seemed like a thing. Just like, oh, here's a cool looking black kid we'll never see again. He served his purpose.
Exactly. I mean, like, you're right. We'll never see either of them again. But I do like the idea of like Thor and Flip becoming really close. You know what I mean?
Well, there was another person that you left off the roll call.
Who?
Another reoccurring character who made his very first appearance on this episode.
List, I'm waiting.
Who will go on to be the most famous of the Boy Meets World alumni.
Oh, so the reason why I did not include him on the roll call
I
was
understand.
more so because he does not have a name.
He doesn't have a name. It's a cameo. However, in the opening scene when they're at Chubby's, the guitar player that hands Cory and Sean the instrument cases to hold is played by Adam Scott.
Exactly.
Now, Adam Scott just plays a small character here, but he will later on go on to play Harley's replacement, Griff, and that will be a reoccurring role for him. So we definitely will see him again. And like I said, he is the most famous of the alumni.
That is actually, you know what? This is why you're here, because I completely did not even make the connection of Adam Scott and Griff. I didn't.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what I'm saying is, like, it did not even slightly occur in my mind because I just saw it as a cameo spot, but damn, that's accurate. That even works in, like, the if we continue that, like, fan theory. He still goes to this school, so it makes sense.
Oh, sure. I mean, I think he comes in as a transfer, but that is interesting that we see him here and there, huh?
But yeah, what I'm saying is we can still make this work as a backstory because he doesn't necessarily go to their school. He is just credited as senior and he's at Chubby's. We never see him at school. So he can still transfer from another school. Yeah. Exactly. I'm just saying. So and this was before he got that persona as well. So I see him like, it says senior, but like maybe he wasn't a senior. He was just like a junior, or he was a senior and he fails and that puts him on this different path. I don't know. I'm just saying we're making it work.
But I mean, seeing him was a delight. There's also a ton of other people you left off the roll call that did not get named, and okay. I don't know why.
What are their names? I need you to give me names.
Okay, so what I'm referring to are Alan's old bandmates, and the reason why I'm bringing them up is because, again, Ceej, this is really important. Okay, so Alan has 3 friends. One is named Norm, one is named Gordy, and another one is named they do not name the third one. I think his name is something I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to say there are no names in here.
However,
there are no names.
The most important thing about these guys, most important thing about these guys is that one of them is played. I think his name is Norm in this episode. Mickey Dolenz. Mickey Dolenz is the actor that plays him. He will come back later on in the series as one of Alan's good friends, so we will see him again. He is also the former lead singer of the Monkees.
That I was waiting on, actually.
So, Gordy was played by a man named Rick Nielsen, who is the former guitarist of Cheap Trick.
Oh, wow. Good for you.
And the other friend is played by Billy Vera, who was the lead singer of a band called Billy and the Beaters. And they had a song that was like, what would you say
I would do at this moment when you're standing before me with tears in your eyes?
So all of those former like Alan's former musician friends are actually former musicians.
That was definitely something we should discuss because it was kind of obvious to me that everyone in his quote unquote band, they're actually musicians. You know, like it's one of those things.
Yeah,
like,
and when they play, it becomes obvious that like they have.
They have talent and they've done this before. And I think that's a good place to like pick up. What did you really feel about the whole Alan storyline with like these?
You know what? As much as I found Alan to be kind of annoying, I also think there is some truth to this thing, and I kind of see it now with my friends. How we're like getting to that age where we're like 30 something and everyone's so busy all the time that when we do get a chance to go out, people are like, yo, let's rage how we used to. Let's rage how we used to when we were young. And then like the reality of like their age isn't a factor when they're saying all those things, and it eventually catches up to them before the night's over. And so you're 9:30 with the same people who are like, let's rage, and they're like yawning and just being like, yeah, well, it's getting late. I'm like, you were just saying how you wanted to party like it was 2006. Where are you now?
Yeah. Well,
so
that's
how I found it to be relatable, at least.
Yeah, no. I like how Alan, when he's talking about them and he's talking about the band members, he says something like, they were like the closest friends. We were like lifelong mates. I wonder if they're still alive. You know, it's just like the complexity of like adult friendships and like that whole thing of like being, we're really, really close. I haven't spoken to that person in forever. I literally don't know if they exist anymore.
And I feel like it becomes more common the older you get too.
Oh, absolutely.
Where you have like just people you consider to be really good friends who you haven't spoken to in maybe like north of a year or two. So I mean, adults are weird.
Yeah. Well, I also, this episode kind of leads back to something I wanted to bring up, or we brought up earlier, which were the love languages, is the complexity of like male relationships. For Alan to be this close to these people, he's still kind of like, it's a weird thing of like making male friendships and relationships and being that close, knowing that eventually you'll each have your own families and like different ways of dealing with things.
Yeah.
Am I making any sense?
No. That is true. Like, I feel like because men aren't really, raised in the culture to really discuss love amongst other men in a non-sexual way, I feel like a lot of times we have a hard time dealing with a lot of things like friendship in certain aspects when things start to get kind of gray, and we're just like, we don't take it to heart, or it's not a big deal. It's just, guys don't make a big deal about shit like that. And I think that men can get sad when they don't spend time with friends after a while. And I think, the reality of careers and family can make it so that years can go by without seeing someone, and there can be that sadness there that I don't feel that a lot of people really express very well.
Exactly. Like, I mean, I think there's something to be said about the fact that after he's reunited with them, Alan's like, oh yeah, I don't need to do this anymore. I do, that can kind of take away from it. But at the same time, the other guys, especially once they're vibing with the music, they're like, yo, maybe we can do this again. Maybe we can go on tour. And there is this sense of like,
no, the only reason why Alan doesn't want to do it is because his ego got smashed when he realized he wasn't a good musician. That's the only thing. He was trying to like live his glory days, and then he got reminded that they weren't very glorious. And
which I feel like is a constant with Alan. Like, again, Alan has this whole like theory of like, oh, I was like the edgiest, coolest bad boy. And Amy serves as a really good reminder to both him and the audience that Alan is Alan. It's just like there's no alternate ego that you haven't met yet. Alan has always been Alan.
I disagree. I think that the names on the jacket say otherwise. I also think that when he brings up to the other guys, they were like, hey, you remember gangbanging those triplets in Scranton? And they're like, what? We don't remember this. Alan did some things that he's mixing up stories.
I agree, but I feel I feel like Alan's still that person. Now he's just with Amy. You know what I mean? He's loyal. But Alan, I mean, as many times as we heard them refer to sex, Alan probably gets it just as much as he did when he was on tour. It's just now all with one person.
Yeah, I guess it always kind of makes me sad too when you have I've seen kind of similar storylines about men getting really excited about their old friendships and when they were younger and things like that. And Amy is kind of such a secondary thought in this episode, and like there's none of that. Alan doesn't make an effort at all to not make her feel like he's not bored in their relationship or with her. And I just thought that was kind of a little selfish of him, maybe.
I mean, very, very much Alan. But like, what do you think about? And I really liked the idea that Amy is kind of. It's one of those.
She's so yes dear in this episode. I hate it.
I don't know if she's yes dear, or to me, I think it's just more of a she's. I still see Amy as like the mature one who understands that this is something Alan needs to get out of his system. You know what I mean? Like even when they start playing again, she goes, "This better not be to meet girls." It's kind of like in a tongue-in-cheek way of being like all right, mister, relive your high school days type thing.
I don't disagree. I think that Cory and Alan don't deserve these.
Oh yeah, of course they don't. Speaking of don't deserve, let's talk about Cory and Topanga.
Oh, dude, I kind of like. At one point, like Sean's like,
Why don't you just ask Topanga?
I could, but that would show no personal growth if I simply asked the girl I've always asked ever since we were 5.
So when you gonna ask her?
I figure tomorrow. Unless by some magic, girls suddenly start to notice me.
It's interesting, and this is why I wanted to bring it up, because I do not like the framing of Cory and Topanga in this episode. Mostly because it shows Topanga as like this willing, waiting person, doting woman, and Cory as this oblivious, selfish person who kind of sees her as an afterthought. I mean, which again, I think is very true to teenage boys at that time, but it's just like, it's really hard to see, especially with a couple that you grow to love and respect so much. You know what I mean?
I am having a small issue with Topanga, and that's for me is that she's becoming too perfect, too understanding, too wise. And I think I don't know. I feel like Cory gets a lot of second and third and fourth chances because she is so overly forgiving of him when he's just an asshole to her sometimes.
Exactly. That's kind of like what I wanted to talk about, because what he says is, I always ask her, she's a fallback, and that wouldn't show any personal growth of me. And I was like, wow, just like, damn.
And like later in the episode, Topanga's like, "Hey Cory, I just want you to know that so and so asked me to the dance, and I just wanted to make sure, like, I didn't know what your plans were. I wanted to check with you before I gave him the okay." Like, she's so overly considerate.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. You said it a while ago in one of our episodes. I don't remember which one, but you were like, I feel that she's always had a thing for Cory, and it's Cory who like comes around. Yeah. And when I saw this episode, I was like, especially when she comes up to him, she's like, "Hey, Jeremy asked me out, and I said that I would wait to see what you're doing." I was like, oh, she like legit is giving Cory the chance. You know,
I think no, she has a huge. She really likes Cory, and I think it's because she considers him to be so nice, and I think that's why whenever she senses that he's being fake, like with those girls in the band and everything, like she senses it, and she can tell he's not being genuine. She always calls him out on it, and I think that's something that he appreciates as well about her. That she will call him out on bullshit.
No, absolutely. I mean, like she's there for him again at the end of the episode. Even at the beginning when they're on stage and they're performing badly, she's up front just like, oh, you know, I haven't left yet. It's very easy to leave.
Yeah.
And then when everyone else is leaving, she's kind of like one of the
when she stayed, I was like, oh yeah, they're really pushing this at this point because
exactly.
Yeah, the whole speech at the end, just everything. It was very adorable, but it's just like, oh, okay, so all systems are go on Cory and Topanga being together at this point.
Exactly. At this point in time, they're definitely pushing for it, but it's also, as you said, he just doesn't deserve her at this point.
No,
you know, like,
he
she
doesn't.
is doing all the right things. She stayed even after you lied to everyone, performed terribly, and sang the name game on stage in front of the whole school. And then
the name game.
Yeah,
there were so many dumb dumb jokes in this episode, and like I think a lot of the humor that we're gonna see is just, and when I say dumb, not that the jokes are dumb, but it's about the boys being dumb. Like there's one sequence where they're like,
we have to come up with a plan.
You know, that's so crazy it just may work.
What may work?
The plan.
I didn't tell you what it was.
That way they can't get it out of me.
Get what out of you?
Nice try.
it's so dumb, but that's the humor that we're getting, and I laugh every single time.
Here's the thing, I will say, this level of Sean's stupidity, it's kind of like what we get later on with Eric. You know, like if you were to replace older Eric with that same scene, it would make so much sense.
That's the thing, is that the writer's room clearly has that humor tapped in. And what they do is, as Sean becomes more brooding, Eric becomes more goofy. Yeah. And that's where that twist happens.
Because it is ridiculously how stupid he is in this scene, but I loved it just as much.
Oh man. Hey, did you notice that I think, is this the 7th grade dance that Feeney was trying to cancel during their strike?
Ooh, continuality. Me like it.
Yeah, because I remember
actually it's not too far away. I mean, it could be.
Cancel we're going to cancel the 7th grade dance, because we were like, oh, one class is going to cancel it for the whole grade.
Yeah. It was back in our protest episode.
I'm glad to see that.
A few weeks later, we get a payoff. I like it. Oh, something else I wanted to say about it. Cory, a few things. One, Cory is actually really smooth when he's in the band, though.
Oh, I noticed that too. Once he thinks he's cool, Cory is kind of cool. And that's kind of the sucky thing about it, is that we can all kind of relate to that. Like, once you get that boost in confidence, it's easier to stay there. But gosh, I feel like if he just paid attention to the people who give him that affirmation all the time, like, he would be fine. But he doesn't give a shit about the people who give it to him all the time. He wants it from strangers.
Going right back to Topanga. And yeah. I mean, I think you're right. That's kind of one of Cory's biggest downfalls, is he does the same thing with Sean, but like, he ignores Sean and Topanga's advice when they're always like, look, dude, you have, like, as far as we're concerned, we're hanging out with the coolest guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to get it. Like, he thinks that Cory and Sean and Topanga, at least later on, he believes them to be the coolest people. So I guess I just don't understand this whole thing of him feeling like he's so uncool when clearly his two best friends are the coolest people he knows.
Exactly. So, you're like a summary of your surroundings. So at that point, it just makes sense that Cory is, in some level, kind of a cool kid. Not only is he hanging out with Sean and Topanga constantly, but I mean, let's be fair, this is a TV show, of course we're making leaps here, but he also is given so many chances by the school. You don't get to make this many fuck ups in one school and still, people be willing to give you a chance. There's something about Cory that's redeeming.
I mean, there's going to be other episodes that like in the season where the boys do ridiculous stuff, but I'm like, how are they still at this school? And like, this obviously wasn't a thing I thought that they would get in trouble for, but I also felt like Jonathan was kind of reveling in this too.
Okay. So before we get there, I do want to talk about, I literally screamed, oh God, when Turner walks around that corner holding that helmet in that hallway.
Is that your turned on by Turner?
Oh, turned on by Turner moment this episode was him just coming in, those jeans, that hair, that jacket. Every time he makes that entrance, and they always make sure he's holding that helmet when he makes that entrance.
Well, Cory even points it out. He's like,
you know what, Mr. Turner? Me and you, we're a lot alike.
Are we?
Yeah, because you have this motorcycle helmet. People think you're cool. And I carry around this guitar case and people think I'm cool too.
That is definitely one of the things that I thought was interesting. Cory's parallel or understanding of Mr. Turner using the motorcycle as his thing to get girls. You know what I mean?
I mean, I'm sure there's some truth to that, but
I mean, no, I would completely think so. The hair, the earring, the motorcycle, this is all part of Turner's I'm cool yet approachable choice. You know, it's like I'm a sensitive bad boy. That's Turner's whole spiel whenever he's out here, even when he's with the kids. It's kind of like this I'm sensitive but I'm a rebel.
And he plays it like a damn fiddle, man.
He plays it well.
Yeah,
I would go to that concert anytime. Literally, the concert could that's one where it's like the concert could literally just be Turner walking in with that helmet under his arm, and I'd be like, yes,
yeah,
front row tickets, please.
VIP passes, man.
Exactly, backstage, preferably.
Yeah, I thought this episode was kind of mediocre, honestly.
Oh yeah, I don't think so. My last little notes that I have for this episode are: one, the stakes get higher and like they are trying to figure out what to do. Ben Savage does this thing where he's like nervously shaking his leg, and I was like, that's completely uncalled for. He doesn't have to be doing that, and I just love that Ben Savage really gets into his character. You know what I mean?
I wonder where these little notes come from. I wonder how much of it is just actors' choices and how much of it is, you know, a director that they trust that has a good eye that's just like, hey, Ben, why don't you try doing this?
Yeah.
It would be interesting to get some insights on those kind of choices.
What do you think about the fact that, I mean, this could even be the Feeney taught me, but like the idea that the boys kind of expect Feeney to come in with this lesson about being your true self and not lying and yada, yada, yada. And they're like, we wouldn't even listen. They're kind of already tired of it. And instead, Feeney just walks up to them and laughs.
Yeah. No, I mean, I feel like, you know, they get a lot of, in addition to all the second chances that they get their hands held a lot by the teachers, by Jonathan and Feeney, through a lot of circumstances. And I feel like it's far more realistic for teachers to be like, no, this time you were just dumb and you need to learn your lesson.
Exactly, which both Turner and Feeney kind of do. Like, again, Turner, first of all, I like how they try to back out of it by like being divas. Like, Cory's just like, we ordered hand-sliced turkey, and this is clearly processed. And Turner's like, oh, don't worry, I got you. And then
I got you, fam. Hey, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, the exits.
So there's that. And then later on, when he's like, Mr. Turner, we weren't really that bad, were we? And Mr. Turner's like, look, if you don't need to come into school on Monday, I get it. If you need time, I got you.
I just don't know how anyone thought this was going to turn out. Like, I really feel like Feeney, I don't know, did he just not care when he put them up? Because he had to know. He's like, I live next door to Cory. I've never heard him practice anything. What?
That's actually really true. It's, for me, it was one of those things to where I literally have in my notes, pull up. Because it's like, it's watching a car crash or a plane crash. And it's like, why aren't you doing anything? Like,
I think for him, he's just like, dude, if I put these kids on, like, at least I don't have to worry about hearing crap from the rest of the student body. I think that's just his mindset.
Yeah, which,
he just
by the way,
doesn't care.
What do you think of like even the idea that Feeney would hire a band called Demon Seeds?
Oh, I thought that was unrealistic to begin with.
Exactly. But
also, who are Demon Seeds? We never hear anything of Demon Seeds.
I feel like there's a joke there somewhere because I wrote note like Demon Seeds move out or Demon Seeds pull out or something like that, I think is what they say.
Yeah.
But again, going back to the boys, I thought it was really funny just the idea of them continuing to go along with this non-plan, even though it's like why wouldn't you just cancel?
Well, I will say that Corey did think he had a backup when he was going to have the musicians actually play. I just think for him, he just doesn't ask those questions of just being like, "Hey, so what's?" But you know what? I also think it's super unrealistic for those guys to not know what this gig was going to pay before they showed up.
I mean, the whole episode is kind of really unrealistic. It literally it jumps and leaps. The story itself just constantly, whenever you check back in with the band story, it goes from, oh yeah, we play instruments, to, oh yeah, we have other members, to, oh yeah, we're really good at what we play, and before you know it, they're headlining. So yeah, there were lots of leaps.
Yeah, I don't really have.
But,
Yeah,
but
this episode was blah.
yeah. All right, let's wrap it up then. Any lessons? Any Feeny
That's
taught
the
me?
thing. I just really don't have a whole lot to say about this episode. Like, I just kind of like don't lie is the Feeny lesson. Like, I don't know. Like,
Get it in writing? I don't know.
yeah, I don't know what they were trying to, what
Although Corey
moral they were
did
trying to
sign a
put out.
contract, which was stupid. Again, I was like, for me, there's like so many moments where you could have pulled out.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All right. So, do you have a bruh moment at all?
I guess, yeah, the only bruh moment was trying to scrape out of the bottom of the barrel of this episode was, I guess, Alan's fear of mediocrity and how, like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of people who maybe had high expectations for themselves, like, there is this fear of just like, oh, well, I don't want to be another boring adult. And as I'm getting older, I'm seeing a lot of that, a lot more of like people not wanting to be considered boring adults. And I don't know, I just thought that was interesting.
Yeah, no, I agree. My bruh moment comes from Alan too, surprisingly. But I think it's kind of something that speaks to us more now that we're getting older. The whole thing with Alan being like, no, we were like social change and like, down with the system, fighting the establishment, Vietnam War. It was just like I it's one of those arguments of like rebellion is of the youth. You know what I mean? It's just like that
Yeah.
energy and thing. It's just like, oh yeah, am I losing that? Because I feel like I'm not, but you do just like even earlier when I was talking about being at the concert, I kind of remembered like just the tension and excitement and energy and frustration that I saw in that mosh pit. And I was just like,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want anything to do with that. Like my arm hurts and I have to get
Yeah.
up in the morning, you know?
Guys, I'm not trying to ruin my outfit. Guys, I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
trying to go to
exactly.
work with bruises. I can't explain this to my boss. I have a meeting.
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of like why I was like, yeah, I just that moment really was like, oh wow, yeah. When you were younger, you do those things, and you just it's not that you stop caring. You're just like, oh yeah, I have things to do.
Yeah, overall, I mean, I think I just considered both Corey and Sean and Alan to just be pretentious in their own individual ways throughout this entire episode. And a lot of I guess damaged male ego.
Yeah, fragile masculinity.
Yeah, fragile masculinity. A lot of that happening here.
Yeah. I think there's definitely something to be said about all of this, especially the way that Amy and Topanga kind of dote on Alan and Corey.
Pass. Hard pass.
Okay, so speaking of pass or fail, what grade are you giving this?
I'm giving it. I guess I'll give it a C plus. I mean, the only reason it's getting a plus is because the humor was really on point in the episode. It's just the story I just didn't really find remarkable at all. Corey and Topanga have way better episodes. Corey and Sean have better episodes. Um, I'm not a huge fan of any kind of Alan centric storyline for the most part. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
just me.
no, it's really funny that you say that because I'm like, as we go further and further in this, I have been grading harsher than you, because I'm giving this a C minus.
Oh, I mean, dope. I mean,
Yeah,
like
no, I'm just saying,
I
like,
agree. This episode was subpar.
usually I'm like the one who's like, oh yeah, I'll give it like a little bit more flexibility because of I know what they were going for, blah blah blah. But yeah, this episode I was like, even the humor, like it was good, but it just wasn't like memorable. not like in the way that Boy Meets World can be.
Yeah, that's the thing about this episode. It wasn't bad, but like I never need to see this episode again. I'll be okay.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think my highlight of the episode was Mr. Turner turning that corner. So
Yeah, it's like you know, a Best Picture Academy Award. You know, those movies like they're good, but you don't typically need to see them ever again.
Yeah, sadly. That's not how that's supposed to go at all. Okay, so homework. Do you have any homework?
Yes, I just saw the movie Eighth Grade, and I'd like to talk to you about it.
Yeah, I haven't. I've heard about it.
Yeah, so one of the things that was interesting is just watching Boy Meets World after watching Eighth Grade, because Eighth Grade takes such a hyper realistic look at middle school, and I've never seen any kind of art form take middle school as seriously. I felt,
Ooh.
it felt like. I don't know. Like, I know a lot of people are comparing it to like a John Hughes movie for middle school, but I think it also has kind of like this kind of, I don't know, this other element to it that I can't quite describe. That's a slightly abstract, and there's moments where, um, she's just going to a pool party, and the fear and anxiety and the nervousness of that, they're able to like you feel it while you're watching it, and you're cringing throughout the entire movie, and you're having these awful flashbacks and memories of what it was like growing up. And it's just such a different take of middle school than Boy Meets World, which I feel is so idealistic of just like Topanga is what you would like a eighth grader to be, and this movie is about what an eighth grader actually is, and it was very, very well done. It was written and directed by Bo Burnham, who I'm just such a huge fan of. And I love this notion that people are saying that this movie could win an Oscar, because if a kid who made YouTube videos can win an Oscar, that for millennials, as like that's our cap turn. Like we just graduated.
Well,
Because that to me is just such a huge deal.
I like that you said it's kind of like a graduation, because I feel a lot of our YouTube artists or Vine artists or things like that, they're becoming more dominant in our industry. Like we just had, Issa Rae was previously a YouTube star. I heard one of the other YouTube stars, Kid Fury, is looking into getting a show.
Even like Chance being able to win a Grammy, like it's just we're showing like the other generations who weren't quite there yet that we don't need the traditional machines behind us in order to find an audience, in order to create content. We can do it ourselves for the most part, and I know that obviously Bo Burnham had hits with Netflix, and he had a few other movie roles, so he wasn't completely oblivious, but he built it all from a YouTube point of view. So I thought that was really interesting.
Well, yeah, no, I really like that, and thanks. I'll definitely check it out. Make sure our listeners check it out. So my homework, kind of to go back into this whole music theme we've had, or even art with your last movie. I have 2 podcasts that are about music that I really, really think you would enjoy. One is called Deja Vu. And what they do is it's sponsored by Spotify, and each episode they compare a modern artist with a legendary artist. So
that's interesting.
Yeah, they have very interesting ones, like they had like one where it's like, is Rihanna the new Madonna? They had another one which I really thought you would like the discussion on, which is Beyonce the new Michael? Oh
well, I have so many thoughts, but I guess I should
exactly. Wait. Yeah, listen to the podcast and then give me your thoughts, because I really think that you will like where it goes. I really think you will. But yeah, and they have arguments for and against. They show their very similarities. A lot of the times they look at someone and they're like, it's not just whether or not that person has like the same sound as whoever.
Yeah, it's more just like how their career trajectories are.
Yeah, their career trajectories, their discography, and sometimes even their lives. It's just like well, or how did this person learn from the previous, who they're being.
Sure.
So I really think you will like that. Check it out. Deja Vu on Spotify. And then another podcast, it's called Switched on Pop. And what they do, which I also think you'd enjoy, is they analyze and kind of do music theory on different pop songs. Because I actually know one of the hosts, and he was saying that a lot of people just disregard pop music and, as not real art. But when they go through each songs and they break them down, you understand like classical references that they're doing, and modern song and why we're attracted to it. So I really, really think it's worth a listen.
Oh, awesome! That's definitely worth checking out.
All right, so yeah, those are our homework assignments. Do you have anything else?
No. If you guys haven't seen this episode and you just listen to this podcast, don't worry. You don't need to see it.
Yeah, all right. So on that, let's close it out. Thank you for listening to Bruh Meets World. Remember, you can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher. Leave us a rating, send us an email, do all the things that you need to do. And if you're going to do it, it's at Bruh Meets World. You can find me on Twitter. That's Extra Ceej. That's XTRACEEJ. TC?
You can find me at @ABraverMe on Instagram. You guys, I know you guys have been clamoring for me to update Anna Kendrick retweets on my Twitter. So don't worry, the Twitter has been updated at Anna Kendrick RT, where you can get all of Anna Kendrick's tweets retweeted by yours truly.
Okay, I think that's pretty much it, right? We're just wrapping up. So,
I just want to formally announce that the Muppets will be reuniting in 2020. So keep your ears
so now you
to the ground
keep on that
one.
promise. And when someone comes up, do you even speak to them anymore? Are they even alive?
You know what? Don't worry, I'm gonna find out.
Okay, so while he's doing that, I want you guys to remember to dream, try, and do good.
Do good.
All right, later, bruhs.
Later, bruh.